Hello.
Hey Alex, how's it
Hi,
going?
Bianca. It's good. We're
Okay,
here at 2
it's
p.m. on Tuesday, every Tuesday.
Tuesday EST, 2 p.m. Tuesday. It's
12. This is our 12th stream. That's like basically 3 months of streams.
wild. I thought we would have given up after I was really 2 months with it. Like in my mind, I was just like, we're gonna do 2 months. And then Chef Brent was like, no, the streams won't work. And then I was like, okay. I was easily influenced, but
Yeah,
yeah,
we got there. We're here.
we did. Yeah, I also feel like over time it started to get much easier too. So I think that
Yeah.
to me is just like pretty awesome, which is like I think when we started there was a very this seems so far away, right? Like 12, what is it? 12 streams in?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like 12 streams felt like this very like far away land versus it just being like we got there because we just did one after the other, you know?
The first month was stressful because we were like figuring out what we were doing. And now, we've got June mostly planned. We're starting to plan into
Mhm.
I guess we're finishing up planning June. We got May planned. Well,
Mhm.
obviously it's halfway through May. We got a few weeks planned, and then we're like starting to plan into July already. Like I think we're
Mhm.
like in a good spot planning. But yeah, happy to be back. How you doing today, Bianca?
Doing all right. I got some fruit bars.
Sweet.
At previously you saw me un without snacks. So therefore I'm glad for this transition into the snack land hydration with a handy hold on. You see the
Oh,
you
I don't
know
have my
got a little,
Twilio mug here.
you know got some stuff going on. I will say like when we started, yes, when we started we had we were really YOLOing this, and like maybe this was my ignorance, but I do think like I was like, streaming, whatever, we'll just swing it. um,
Which is correct with
yeah.
some caveats.
Yeah, I think there's a level of just like support and infrastructure that you kind of need. So I think when I started streaming, I was just like, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
like, oh, have I ever watched Twitch? I think I had it like in the back. I think I like had it in the background. Like you would know, I knew of the Twitch streamers, and I was like, wow, can't believe people just stream and people watch them. I get, okay, you know what it is? I think my view of streaming before was very much so people watch you eat, or people watch you just like people watch you just like living life. So this concept of engaging streams where it's like you do stuff beyond just like existing. I think I was thinking of it from a live stream standpoint. So
Got it.
not necessarily like a Twitch stream, and I feel like Twitch streams has their own flavor. What about you, Alex?
I had experienced it from the side of like video games or like gaming.
Mhm.
I've had some friends that have streamed games. I've watched people stream. I at one point was very into Hearthstone and would watch some Hearthstone streams, or usually more likely the YouTube videos they would create after the streams. But yeah, I would watch occasional streams and had some friends who streamed uh, Team Fortress Tactics and Hearthstone and Magic. So like I saw it from that side, and but I don't I hadn't done a lot of it, and I hadn't seen these like come build with me tech streams until I got to Twilio. Like that was new to me.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it was definitely like a learning curve, and that was challenging. Like shout out to you for just being like, let's just start this. We have some more folks in the mix.
Yeah.
Hi. Hello, hello. No, yeah, shout out to you for that because I do think like I if it were up to me, I would probably not stream because I'm like has to be produced. It has to be like all these things. So I do think you're just like Bianca. Let's just start this and do it. And I don't know. I do sometimes struggle with that, right? Like the
Yeah.
making the decision when you're in it versus hedging. like,
Right. I think I almost had the opposite. I was like wanting to do all this different content, and I'm really good at getting the first 80% of the way, but then like making it nice. Like the first bit I did was recording that interview with Ridwell, which we did a whole episode on. That was one of our first ones. And it was
Mhm.
so much fun to record and so much fun to do. But then like putting it together and then figuring out where it was going to go and then making sure it was polished enough and short enough, it's like it kind of dropped off. And so there was a part of me that just wanted to get into this because it's so raw and we can just do stuff and see what happens and see what sticks. um
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's fun, and I'm enjoying it from that perspective, and finding different ways to engage. I was Once we started getting guests on, it got so much fun. Like just having people to talk to.
Mhm. I agree.
I do enjoy talking to you, but like throwing
It's
somebody
fine.
else in there and letting us kind of like hit them from both sides of
Oh, yeah. I do also feel like I was like, I talk to you all the time, Alex.
yeah.
So I'm like, we lots of hours, we clock. No, but I hear that. Yeah, I definitely think the space of like polish and also going back into like getting to the roots of like Twitch and just streaming, it's not
Mhm.
intended to be this place of polish all the time. So I think that, yeah, it's like a good balance. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just
Mhm.
encouraging me to get on video and having kind of like this flag in the sand of like we're doing it all every day, every week at this time.
Mhm.
Um, it's been fun. And today I'm excited because we're kind of going to prep and talk for what is more polished content, which is kind of like
I
fun that
know.
we're using this unpolished spot to go and polish some stuff and ship it in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and I think even that space of, like, having more of those, like, the public sandbox, like,
Mhm.
play, so I didn't even think about that, right? Which is, like, we're using the space for a greater thing that is very, like, join our webinar.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so today we're talking all things omni-channel. So a few weeks ago, you had held that like you had held a talk with which is a TSL,
Yeah.
Twilio startup
Twilio
start.
Startup Labs. Yeah. That's my like main content platform for Twilio. It's all about helping startups or really any company make customer engagement their competitive advantage. And I bring in experts from Twilio and some of the research we do and other knowledge to try to walk you through what you should be thinking about when you start creating amazing customer experiences. And the last one was on omni-channel, which is like, how do you use channels together? So like voice, SMS, maybe social, email, all these things together to create a better experience for customers.
Mhm. Yeah, so I think from that talk, we were like, okay, well, let's turn that into a builder workshop. And the builder workshops tend to focus on like the name says, building, right? So moving beyond kind of that informational talk to how do we make it live. Our last builder workshop was great. I'm biased, but we focused on fan experiences and we had, what was it? Not the hot dog. It
No, it
was
was a
like
sausage
the
race. Yeah, we did it.
Oh,
We
the
played a
stock.
little game
Yeah.
with the sausage race. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think being able to create, like, creative ways for folks to engage, but, like, bringing it to life. And
Yeah.
I think maybe that it's interesting that we had started off talking about, like, streaming. So even this aspect of, like, bringing things to life and not necessarily just, like, keeping it in your head. And I think you can get all the information all the time, but I do think there is something so powerful about how does this show up in the real world? Like, how does this
Yeah.
show up, you know, live. So, okay. So when we think about omni-channel, like for folks that might not necessarily be familiar with omni-channel, like what,
So I
how,
think multi-channel makes sense to us. But it's how are we connecting with our customers across different channels, right? So like even all of us personally are omni-channel, right? I tend to not text my grandmother. I tend to call my grandmother because she likes that better. Um,
Mhm.
I tend to text some of my friends. I have one cousin who only really likes to text or call me on Signal. right? Like you're like this way in life. All my friends that we're going to Europe over the summer and we're visiting our friends in Germany. I use WhatsApp to talk to those friends in
Mhm.
Germany that we're going to visit. So I have different modes of communicating with different friends. Some are honestly just like we pass things back and forth in Instagram, right? Like it's all over the place. So that's kind of like the idea of multi-channel, right? You're connecting on multiple different channels. But once you start to think about how those channels work together, that's where we start to get into omni-channel. So that would the example that I gave that I think is like a classic example is like appointment reminders, which we're going to talk about more later. But let's say that you're just really trying to get in touch with somebody. Maybe you start with an email and you
Mhm.
give it a few days and you see if they respond to that email. Maybe they click a link in there that says, yes, I'm going to come or whatever you want them to do. If they don't respond to that email, maybe a few days before whatever you want to, like the appointment or whatever, you send them a text message and then you wait and see if they respond to that text message. And then maybe you give them a call if they don't respond. So it's kind of like that escalation. So you can use all these different channels together.
Mhm.
Another classic example that I like is whenever you order food, right? You might use the app to order the food. That's one channel.
Mhm.
And then once the food's ordered, you're going to get a receipt in your email because you don't care about that in a text message, but you might want to look later and see how much. I don't ever want to look later and see how much I spent on DoorDash, but you might want to. Um, and then they're going to send me like text message being like, hey, your driver's there, or, your food's almost ready, all that kind of stuff. So you're using
Mhm.
different channels along the same process to make it there. Yeah, I agree. Friends don't let friends look at those receipts. Um, is DoorDash the modern equivalent of RPG fetch quests? Yeah, but you get to set the quest, which is kind of fun, right? Like you're creating the quest, which is at times more fun than like RPG fetch quest would be like in a role playing game, being like, bring me 3 goose feathers from the magical goose beyond the mountain, and then go and get a frog's toe from over there. I toe frogs in the chat, so I had to get a frog's toe from somewhere. And it's like it's all that, but like, yeah, you can. What if you could DoorDash in RPG games and just be like, I'm just gonna pay some gold and not go do this fetch quest? That'd be kind of fun. Yeah. Anyways, so that's the idea of omnichannel. It's using channels together.
I'm sorry. I love the detour of like, and that is omni-channel.
Yeah.
Little
Was
uh
Tofrog a WoW player? I never got into WoW. I never got into World of Warcraft, but I doesn't, I'm sure we've got some people on chat and Tofrog was. Go kill some
I
boars, dude. Yeah. Whew.
so
Oh, I
so
like that. The level 10 party just hires the new level 1 party to fetch quests for them. Great. I mean, that'd be pretty cool if there was some in-game economics to do that.
but there's sorry. I love how we take this like the real world application. No, this works. But I
Hey,
mean,
honestly, there was some crazy omni-channel stuff in World of Warcraft. I want to say it was Domino's did a whole thing where you could order pizza from within the game. Like that's another channel.
oh no, I think why do I feel like Roblox like launched every time I bring up brands on these things, I'm like, is it gonna be censored? So but I do feel like they probably incorporated that in some aspects. But I think one thing that comes up as you were talking about omni-channel, which was like I think we had forgotten the goals, right? So I think we had gotten to an era where everyone was like, I just sent 1,000 messages to my customers, right? And it's like, but do you know why you sent those messages? You actually want them to take an action,
Right.
or you might want them to respond. And I think we had lost the conversation, which was like, you're doing this so you can actually get something to happen, right?
Yeah.
So I do think even this aspect of like omni-channel or multi-channel, reminding people you had a goal at hand when you sent those messages. And I think in this era of like, look at our mailing list is so large, and look at all our contacts. And it's like, yeah, we send all these things over, rather than it being how many people responded to you. Shout out to the metrics. How many people responded? Did you actually confirm the appointments that you wanted to get confirmed? And I think kind of getting back into like why did you send these messages in the first place?
Yeah. And getting, and then also knowing that like different channels are going to work well for different people, and different use cases for different channels are going to work well for different people. I actually have a fun slide that I made. Let's see if I can
Ooh,
pull it up and
okay.
present it. We're going to just go through some slides because sometimes illustrations are
Designer.
better. Yeah.
Designer.
I
Okay.
think I can do that way and then it'll load, right? So like,
Ooh.
imagine this is your brand. And then I talk a little bit about like, you have different use cases, right? You might be connecting with people
Mhm.
for marketing or sales, security, services. Like there's all these different reasons you might connect with somebody. And then for different channels, for different use cases, you're going to like use different channels. So like maybe you do marketing on email and SMS, but then service is going to be voice and email. And then security is only going to be SMS or WhatsApp, maybe, depending on where they're in sales, who knows. So like you kind of think that, but then not only that, you also have to be like, for each different customer, it's going to be different, right? You might have one customer that likes doing email and SMS and another that is using WhatsApp instead. One likes voice and one won't actually pick up a phone. So you got to think about all these different ways that you're connecting, and yeah, what do you want the customer to actually do, and what's the best way to make that happen?
So when I look at this thing, there was like this meme going around. It's like there are things that I do on like I have to do on my computer versus like things I can do on my phone. So like
Yeah.
there's some people they're like the adult things of like I am not gonna buy like airplane tickets. I mean, I've evolved, right? But like I used to like never buy my airplane tickets on my phone. Like I had to
Mhm.
go inside, like, and I called it the like, okay, these are my adult tasks. And I have to, like it has to be done on the official computer, not on
Yeah.
phone. So I think as I'm hearing you talk, like even this aspect of just like, we do lean into certain channels. And I mean, it's interesting because it's like I don't want my security stuff to be on SMS all the time.
No.
Like, yes, maybe give me kind of what is it, your authentication codes, but like don't break down too much, right?
Yeah, and like sometimes I want the SMS. I have like my bank, it's like a small local bank, and they only
Mhm.
do calls for the like codes, and it's quite
Oh,
frustrating. But like whatever, I know that it's the one bank and it's like a local bank, and there's a reason that I use it
yeah.
for, like it's not because they're the
Mhm.
techie bank. Um this I think is interesting. Tofrog saying my mom used to prefer voice but now prefers text, which is wild. Um which, yeah, I mean, preferences change too. Like things change over time. You can't assume people are static. This actually reminds me of, I think, the biggest tech win that I ever managed with my parents, and this is a departure from where we are. Um, my mom used to just always be like, "Alex, I need your help. I can't do this on my computer. Give me tech help." Uh, I, she now Googles things before she calls me. I know. I'm like, Mom, you're like reached a new level." It is
Alex,
so it
this
is so
is
pleasant, but like
major.
people
That
learn.
is major. That is major.
Yeah.
I also do wonder though if it's just like familiarity, because like in some ways she thought you were her Google, and like my mom like
Yeah.
my mom, she used to always use kind of one means to get across, like it has to be a call. We've Me and my mom have definitely leaned into more async communication, because like her version is like, now we need to talk now, and I was like, voice memo me, so I can triage it. So like
Yeah.
I was like, let me triage. And I think even if I think about like like the omni channel, the communications channel, if I'm getting a barrage of messages and some of them require action versus some of them are information updates, like
Mhm.
if my provider or whomever is like, hey, I need you to do this thing, don't send that to me in a text message because I'll forget about it. Versus it's, you know what I mean? Like my phone
Yeah.
doesn't have the ability to like save for later.
That's true. Like I was on the phone with somebody recently and they needed to like give me an email of somebody else. And I'm like, they were like starting to read off. I'm like, stop. I just called you on your cell phone. As soon as we get off, or even right now, just like type it in and send it to me via text, and then I'll have it and it'll be right and we can go from there. Like,
Sorry. I'm just gonna Alex, stop. Just stop right there.
do you want me to text
Don't
you?
like just No, that is so real. Yeah, because
Or
I do
maybe I want
think,
to throw something in chat. You never know. Like, different channels,
yeah,
even Twitch, multiple channels, right? We're here
yeah,
video. People
that
are, people are in
so
Slack
so
or in messaging.
transparency moment, that was a challenge for me. Like, I feel like early streams, because in my mind I'm like, wait, I'm talking to you here, but then you have like chat requires a different set. So that was definitely like it took a while, but then once I saw it as Twitch is it's just one space. And
Yeah.
sometimes voice is going to be the most effective, sometimes a chat. So I think the more that I leaned into it as less of each of them are their own separate entities, like me talking to you is one separate thing, or chat is its own separate thing. But once I started to think about it, it's like it's all a part of the show,
Hmm.
change the game.
Yeah. And we just posted in chat, Twilio devs, the
Oh,
last
thanks for
omni-channel TSL. So that's kind of the event that we're talking about, that we ran recently. And then this next version, we're kind of going to give an intro for that and
Mhm,
then build a demo, because I don't actually build a demo in my TSLs, or at least haven't in the past.
mhm.
Um,
Thanks,
oh,
Robertables.
Robertables,
Thank
if you're
you.
feeling comfortable streaming for now, it sure doesn't show. You're both great. Thank you. We are having fun doing it, and we like when you're in chat, chatting it up, and giving us some fuel for our own things. Because honestly, Bianca and I could easily sit here and just talk to each other for 2 hours without any of you, if you really wanted to. That'd be fine. I'd enjoy that. But
We've done, I feel like we've done it before. It
we've
felt
done it.
like,
Oh, for sure.
absolutely. Got talked about all the topics. No, yeah. So, no, yeah, that's, I think even just like seeing it as one thing. And I think that's also what I think companies, startups, whomever can lean into is stop separating these things, right? Like you're
Mhm.
still trying to reach the same person. So like this, yeah, your goal is to communicate with, you know?
You shouldn't. A lot of times people separate things by channel, and they're like, how is SMS doing for us? How is email doing for us? How is the
Mm,
phone? And that's not the right way to think about it. You need to separate it by use case. I'm going to use every channel I can to connect with somebody for marketing. How is my marketing communications going?
okay. I
I'm going
like
to use
that.
every channel I can to give someone reminders about something. How is that going? So when you're doing the math and trying to figure out how things are working, you do need to separate things by use case, because if you lump all of your SMS together, there's marketing SMS, there's
Mhm.
notifications and alert SMS, there's security and like account verification SMS. Uh, how do you know which one's creating value and which one's not? You have to separate. So like that's the thing. I think it's easy to separate by channel and like, oh, how's
Mhm.
this channel working for me? And it's a little bit harder when you start trying to separate by use case. But I think use case is how you should be separating, because that's how you actually learn how the business is doing.
And I guess, what is your comment to like sometimes like this can feel overwhelming? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you feel like as a business or as a tinkerer, right? You figured it out. But like, I think how do you help folks think about it in a way that doesn't feel too overwhelming?
I I think there's one overarching principle that I live by. I don't know, that's there, which is be like, put yourself in the customer's shoes, be empathetic, put relationships at the core of what you do. That was kind of like three things, but it's all the same idea of create those emotions and those emotional connections. Start there. Like every single thing you do should be framed in that little
Mhm.
use case. Like you should always be thinking about what is the experience and how is the customer feeling and how am I serving the customer by doing anything. So first and foremost, there, wear the customer shoes. Once you like frame everything in there, just start small. Do little
Mhm.
tests, experiment, see where things are. One of my favorite examples is when we did like when I was working with some local startups here in Denver. One of them was like a meal delivery kit kind of startup, and they were using Twilio SMS to notify people about like, hey, your food's here, all that kind of stuff. And it was working really well for them. And I said, hey, have you thought about two-way messaging? They're like, no, that's really hard. We don't want to like have service people on all the time. We already have integrations with our email. And so I was like, okay, what if you just like have it set up for two-way where if somebody texts you, you do two things. First of all, you just send them a message saying, hey, we're really sorry. We're not set up to handle SMS inbound yet. Send us an email. And then the second thing is you log that somebody texted you. So what you start to do there is, first of all, you make the experience a little better for the customer because they know that their texts aren't going into a void and that there's a way to actually communicate with the company. And the second thing you do is you actually start to measure, hey, I sent out 1,000 text messages. And of the 1,000, I mean, is it one person that's going to text you back? Is it 10? Is it 100? Like, you need to know that to figure out if it's worth investing in this two-way communication. But they didn't even know. They had no idea. Their texts when they replied were going to a void. They weren't counting them, nothing. And so like that's just an example of like you can start really small. It doesn't need to be this big thing, but start small and do the thing to figure out what you need to do next. Run that little test and experiment. It's
No,
funny we're
I
talking
like.
about this. Yeah, but
Yeah, why is it funny? Did you?
because Brent just put a stitched together a little short of me talking, and this is what I said I like to do, which is help people experiment. So go check out our
Oh
YouTube channel and look at the short of
no,
me sitting on a couch and talking.
it feels like alignment. I mean, when you're talking about that, what comes up to me is this aspect of what was that thing? Even this view of like we can get into like, oh, I don't do this, or we can get to the problem before we understand the why. Why were they
Mhm.
texting you in the first place? Or were they looking for information? Were they just feeling like, hey, I need someone to help me with my order? And I think getting that context allows you to even understand, oh, like should our website be updated? So I do think we've sometimes can jump so much into these are our capabilities, these are the things that we can do, that you can miss like, well, why did we need those capabilities in the first place? And I would see, oh my gosh, I would see this all the time with startups, because you would see them being like, this is the one solution to solve this thing. And you're like, it's an option, but it's not the
Yeah.
only way, right? Like, don't forget the why you built the thing.
Yeah. And the other thing there is, I think startups are unique. I remember one of the first things drilled into me when I was working on in the startup world and like thinking about like lean startups, which is sitting right there. It's lean startup right there. It's there. Was like get out the door and talk to people. Don't do surveys because like you gotta like actually see what people are saying. And it's a little bit anecdotal, but when you're not working with a huge sample size, that's what you have. And it's almost nice that you can see that. So, like, when you only have 100 or 1,000 customers, you can read what each one is saying to you. When you get to having 10,000, 100,000, you can't because it's just too much. Maybe with AI, we'll be able to start doing that. But, like, if you have a million customers, forget it. You're not going to be able to listen to all of them. Like, then a survey makes sense. But for those first few customers, the fact that you can just be driven by the feelings and the emotions that you're seeing them give back to you is really important. And I think that's one of the reasons that I love working with startups and that I love running experiments with startups is like, yeah, data driven decisions are great, but what happens when your sample size is 10, right? Your data is not going to be very good, but you
Hmm.
can dive in deeper to each individual response and understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. And that I think is really powerful and is almost a better driver of like, how am I solving this problem the right way for people?
Hmm. Okay, so as you're saying that, I like this because it has my brain going in all these different directions. One thing that comes up is leveraging channels as a conversation. Like it's still in its essence a customer conversation, and I think what comes to mind is like if we're reminding people talk to your customers. Okay, maybe you can't go out there and talk to your customers, but say for example, if you walk up to someone and you're like, if I was like, hello, 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 and you're not responding, maybe your headphones are in your ear, right? So like
Right.
as a person, I wouldn't be like, hello, hello, I wouldn't continue to scream at you if you're not responding to me.
Well,
Maybe
you
I'd be
could
like,
you'd look strange. It'd be a weird use of your time. Um, In the business world, it's like people aren't gonna like you as much, and you're gonna waste money trying to interact with people.
And you're also gonna be known as the person screaming hello at Alex,
Yeah,
and Alex just
right.
not
We just have Chef Brent screaming hello in chat. That's
li
good enough.
you know? So versus I'm thinking about, like, okay, say if I were like, "Hello," and then but in person, I might tap you on the shoulder, right? Like,
Mhm,
or but I'm using these other kind of channels, or maybe I'm like, using something visually. Maybe that was like a text message, like call versus text. And I think this aspect of like comms is conversation. And I think we forget the conversation part in these different channels and like realizing like the goal is to have, like you want to get a response. You want to feel like the conversation is going. So I do like this leveraging your channels as another way to like talk to your customers in
mhm.
in some ways.
Yeah. I'm curious for anyone in chat if they have any experiences they wanna share, like preferred channels or like, um, people that they think do this a good way. Yeah. I that's reverberable is yes. I shall tap you on your shoulder and ask about your car's extended warranty.
That was a
I'm
little
glad that they did yeah, exactly.
I mean, as you were saying that, like, what came to mind, I was like, now I might have, like, car warranty nightmares. Like, maybe the tap on the shoulder, like the league of shoulder tappers.
Well, look, it is harder, like, I mean, there's often people on, like, street corners here that are like, "Would you wanna donate to so and so?" And they're paid. Like, that's
Mhm.
it but that's like another channel of communication, um, and that's a whole weird one. Um, so let's see, we
Shoulder.
got, Chef Brent likes SMS almost always. Robertable says, "Shoulder Tapper Guild is now going in my D&D game." Sweet. Robertables, I wanna join your D&D game. Hit me up
That is
next time you need a player. Yeah.
shoulder tappers. No, okay, so but even that aspect of like if I'm walking to get to somewhere, I probably have a place to be. So I'm not like talking to you. Oh my gosh, that usually is like my not favorite.
Yeah.
Is like I don't want to engage in conversation because I now have to be on your time, right? And I think even that aspect of just like if it is time sensitive, if it does require a bit more information, like and I think that is a place where I've seen people kind of have issues is they're trying to fit a lot on like a phone call or a text message and I'm like that person has so much follow-up questions, right? So, like, I think, yeah, definitely curious for folks in chat. Like, when you have all those follow-up questions, are you more of that email person or, like, how do you like to receive information? But
Mhm.
I will say the folks that are on the street at times, it's a very like,
Yeah.
here's all this data.
Yeah. It was also hard because, like, when I was walking my dog would just, like, wanna be pet by these people, so I, like, had to engage with them, and now that I often walk with my toddler, I'm just like, "Well, she's running away, I gotta go," and then,
Sir,
um,
hello, gotta go.
yeah,
We're just I'm sorry. The sound effects today are my favorite. We're just
yeah,
we're
right.
gonna have a
Um
A/B test.
But, back to your thing, it's not also about, like, how you receive information, it's about, like, how the information gets recalled. So, like,
Mhm.
if I need to see something once and I definitely need to see it, SMS is the best way. If
Okay.
there's something that I need to see, but I might need to recall it later, email is gonna be better because I can't, like, searching SMS is kind of a meh experience. Searching email works. Like,
Mhm.
or at least for me.
I
So
think location also matters too. So like when I was I think when I would be taking like public transport in New York, right? So
mhm,
I might be going under the train. So like sometimes the text message you send might not get to me or I've had people be like, "Well, I called you." And I was like, "But I was underground." So
yeah,
the service, like, "Ooh, I like that." Like I like that revertables like email as a record of fact. And I do
mhm,
think I like that aspect cuz it also speaks to like this aspect of like being on the train. I know I'll get the email regardless, right? But text message or a phone call, depending on my service, like there's dependencies on that. And it's like, there have been cases that a service provider would be like, well, I called you. And I was like, but I didn't get it. I was on a plane.
Yeah,
I, you know what I mean? Or I'm like, you're a part of the Android committee.
I
And,
know.
sometimes it doesn't make its way.
Yeah.
All love to the
I
Androids.
I don't pick up my phone a lot because so much like if I don't know the number,
Ooh.
and unless sometimes I have to like be aware of like, oh, I like I recently bought a new bike and I was like
Mhm.
working with a bike shop to get it set up and all this stuff and was like, oh, I'm actually waiting for a call. So like I need to pick it up and like luckily it was the bike shop. And
Okay.
but like a lot of times I don't pick up the phone and then it goes to voicemail and maybe I look at it. I don't know. um
Okay. So phone
yeah.
number was blocked. Oh my gosh, speaking of block numbers. So this was the most hilarious thing. I have a story on block numbers. So Roberta Wills had mentioned like my car dealership phone number was blocked by AT&T, which proved baffling when I never got the call that my car was done. And so even that aspect of like, but had they sent you an email, it might have been a little harder. But then they might have felt it was time sensitive. So we had this moment or this era with my parents, which was like, there's one time, like every time my dad would call my mom, it went to voicemail. And I was like, that is awfully, awfully weird. Come to find out, and I did some sleuthing and researching, my mom had accidentally blocked my dad. And I was like, oh, um, I was like, Mom, maybe this was an accident. But I was like,
It's
I
a
think you blocked
subconscious thing.
I was like, I think you blocked that. But like, it was so funny because like, you don't plan for that edge case, right? Of, the person you talk to all the time, them accidentally blocking your number. And I think maybe this aspect of channels also helps you think about these edge cases of like,
Mhm.
yes, in an ideal world, you call someone, they pick up, but maybe they don't. And what do you do when they don't pick up? And I do think even that aspect of just like, do you have other ways of getting to your solution without necessarily relying on this one place?
And also, I think that brings us back to another thing, which is like you need to know who you're trying to get in touch with and how you're getting in touch with them because someone's phone number might have changed.
Oh,
Someone
yeah.
might not, someone might have given you a landline and they can't actually receive a text message. Somebody's email might have changed or they gave you a bad email.
Mhm.
Oh, I felt so bad. We had one recently. We were sending out emails to promote a TSL, and someone got the yeah, omnichannel also reduces single points of failure, right? And we have at Twilio we have APIs like the lookup API and the email verification API that'll
Mhm.
help you with that. But I was sending out an email, and this is like why you need to check your lists. And somebody got an email that said, "Hi, jerk." Like that was at the top. Like their first name for some reason in our system was jerk because somebody at their company, it was like a general like sales at blah blah blah.com, and somebody at their company had filled out a Twilio form and said jerk and then was their first name and then like whatever they filled, so a bunch of garbage data. And so like this guy messaged me on Slack being like, is this a bad joke or what's going on here? Like, are you guys hacked? Like you're sending me an email saying, hey jerk. So I had to like deal with that, but it was not fun, but like, you got to check your lists. um
That sounds traumatizing. Alex sounds a little it's
yeah.
like,
And
but
so
luckily,
someone,
but
yeah.
but he used other channels to
Yeah, he used
validate.
LinkedIn to find me and say, "Hey, what's going on here?"
Yeah, so even him leveraging, but I do think even just being like, okay, you emailed me this thing, but I think had he not had another channel, or even say if he couldn't respond back to the email, like not being able to get back to you. And I think even that
Yeah.
aspect too, there's stuff there. But yeah, okay. So we're text message people, some of us. I didn't hear a lot of voice love. What's the hate? What's the I'm not saying y'all hate voice, but like, you know,
I
what's the
think voice has
aversions?
its place. For me, I like voice if there's a lot of information to be exchanged or there's
Oh,
like
okay.
a little bit more back and forth. Um Oh, Robertables had a good point, right? Oh, whoopsies, wrong one. I have a phone to make calls, not to take them. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, so you see your phone as more of like an outbound tool. Um,
Ah.
yeah, so like, and then, Chef Brent said, call me when I need you to call me. And I think
All
that
right,
there's times,
celebrities.
yeah, I'll have my people talk to your people. Um, but like, I think that there's times for like, if there was like better Calendly interfaces via SMS, making like Calendly is a great tool. So like that would be a great way to do appointments. But if they don't have that set up, like
Mhm.
I want to talk to somebody on the phone about when I can come in for an appointment. Or sometimes I have questions and they can be answered over text and maybe so like I think there's a place for it, but I think it's got to be the right thing. And for quick updates or hits of information, it's not right. The same way, like, if my parents live 2 hours away, and if they're coming down, just send me a text being like, we left, we'll be there in 2 hours. I don't need you to call
Mhm.
me like, so we're on our way. Okay, mom. Sounds great. We'll be there in 2 hours. Thank you, mom. I will see you. Like,
Sorry.
yeah.
No, it's real. I mean, I think this synchronous versus asynchronous, and it's also definitely generational. I think there is this aspect of like, I want this to be happening now. I want to know in this present moment, um, like, are you getting my message? But I think this is interesting, this like async versus sync. But okay. So we definitely did want to build today.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely sorry. I was like, it's so interesting because it's like this doesn't seem like a topic that would be so like omni-channel. I don't know why I'm talking like a pirate. Like omni-channel.
Your omni-channel. Yeah.
I was like, that wasn't the direction. So but
But
I'm just like,
this is why I like making this content. We all interact with companies and we all have experiences we
mhm,
like and we don't like. And
yeah.
that's the basis for all of this, right? It's how are we feeling when we interact? How do we make people feel the way that we want to feel? That's what I love about it. Um,
Mhm.
when do we get an omni-channel sea shanty? Maybe we finish early. We'll go back over to Suno or whatever the Suno, yeah, Suno, and make an omni-channel sea shanty. Um,
Right on time.
we have that AI power. I'm not gonna sing it, but hey, we can let
One
AI
day.
do that. Cool. So
One day.
yeah. So
All
I
right.
think what do we want to build today?
So for the builder workshop, we wanted to kind of give people an example. I'm trying to think, do we want to do dental? I feel like dental offices are more sporadic. Like those can be like every 6 months
I
sometimes,
did
but
see a stat once when I was researching my last talk was on metrics, and I saw a stat that like
mhm.
every like the longer out you are, the higher chance there's a no show. The longer out you book.
Ooh, yes, I've been there. I forget. So I have two ones that could be a thing. Cause like even this week I have like a dermatology appointment and I had booked it so long ago, I forgot. And all I get is I got a random phone call, like the automated message. And I was like,
Mm,
who the hell is this? And then it was like, you have an appointment. But luckily for me, they sent me an email that corresponded with the phone call that they had, so they didn't get through to me. But then today I was like, oh, can I get an earlier appointment? But this is where they kind of lost me, which is like, I wanted an early appointment, but she's like, oh, this particular doctor doesn't have a wait list. And I was like, that's not helpful. Like, so she's like, oh, but you could call back on your own time. And I was like, that's not helpful. Like, I'm gonna randomly call you back, like, is she open yet? Does she have
yeah.
a spot? But for the most part, I feel like they did a good job of, hey, you have an upcoming appointment 2 days. That's the other thing too, is timeline,
Hmm.
like time based. So like don't send me a reminder during a period I can't make a cancellation or make
Right.
updates. So they called me. When they called me, I couldn't get sorry. Roberta was
Vertibles, you're on fire today.
you
Texting
are.
your dermatologist. Hey, you up? Yeah, 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 yeah.
You're like that's like a that
I feel
even
like the
what's so
equivalent would be like, hey, you open?
you know, and it's so funny because it's like I could definitely see an ad with that, like a watch. We'll see a marketing campaign like text your dermatologist, you
Well,
know?
but this goes back to like, are we going to start to interact with our healthcare providers or like systems of healthcare in different ways where it doesn't have to be asynchronous and it can be all the time? I don't know what the answer to that is, but probably.
Who knows? Okay,
Yeah.
so I think we can definitely make like we could do a appointment reminder.
So like,
That
yeah, let's do an appointment reminder because I think we can do that. So I think like my ideal appointment reminder would be what? Let's think about it. So it's probably like a week
okay.
out. You send an email, right? And
Okay.
then if they, I actually, I have a slide for this. Let's just go to the slide.
Ooh. Okay.
I always have a slide for this. So it'd be like, let's send an email like maybe a week or so out.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, I don't know, producer, if you want to pull up my screen share, it's on there. So like let's say a week out, you want to send an email and then like see if they confirm there. And if they confirm, you can stop because they in theory confirmed and maybe you're fine. If they didn't, maybe you want to send a text, I don't know, 3 days in advance. Maybe you send the email 2 weeks and the text is a week. I think there's time frames there, but you can send a text and then if they take an action, do something. And if they don't, call them. I'm going to do this in studio, which this already looks like a studio flow, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But just for the sake of
Ooh.
time,
Yes.
yeah. So Roberto says my dentist does this flow almost exactly. Me too. My dentist texts me. I don't even know if they email me because I don't check email very often. So if you need me, find another channel. But we'll do this text to call one because I think we can get that pretty quick in studio. And maybe there's a way to do email through studio, but it involves writing some code to basically like have a function that sends through SendGrid. So if we have time, maybe we'll do that. But let's start with like the text and call one. So does that sound like a good plan?
It does. Also, Robertables, let us know in chat, like what exactly do you like about that flow? Curious. The other thing I will say, one thing that my dental office does is they'll give me a reminder an hour before my appointment, which that is probably one of my favorite reminders because I was like, oh shoot, I've been spending too much time at the coffee shop. Like, let me get over there now. So it's like a good nudge.
I wish they were better at sending calendar invites. That's the one for me. Like, I have a few people that like I have appointments with where they send me calendar invites and like that's the best because I know it's there and I know it's the right time because they created the calendar invite.
Okay. All right, let's do it. Okay,
let's do it. So like Twilio Studio, this is my like my favorite tool. I love this. So let's call it appointment reminders. It's our low code, no code tool. So we're just gonna. Oh, they already have one. That's so funny. Let's see what the step-by-step tutorial for appointment reminders is. So this was a video. This might be a Chef Brent special. I don't know. But yeah. Oh, Steve. Oh, see, this is why I love having some people on here. Stephen Nix gave us a blog post about sending emails. SendGrid's really fun. Yeah, I actually had this one open, I believe. I already had that one open here. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll copy and paste this and do it. My worry is it's a little old, so I hope that the code still holds up. But yeah, we'll figure that out. Maybe we'll get there. Maybe we won't. So there's actually already a flow for appointment reminders. Let's just go see what this flow looks like as I scroll down. Yeah, so their basic flow is going to be, so we're going to start with confirm appointment, say something it confirms, and then split based on what they reply. And so that's checking the inbound. If, they reply, then you'll make an HTTP request. I don't know what they're requesting. A confirmation webhook. So like sending back to your company, like, yes, this person confirmed. And so you can send a confirmation or not, and cancellation path. So like, okay, so their basic path is send a message. The person responds 1 for they can go, 2 they can't. If it's 1, you send back to your system saying that they do it. And if it's 2, it sends back saying they canceled. And then they have a little loop for no match. So we're basically going to do this, except we're going to add in this phone call functionality. So, okay, but now we can start from scratch. Cool. So
cool.
We've already thought about this. It was there.
Boom. The other thing too, I like the cool thing about this is like you can start to tweak it for your own kind of preferences or even your own community, right? If you know your customers or know your patients. So I like that. Okay, so we have some blog suggestions or resources as well. So thank you. Thanks, y'all.
Yeah. Let's see, we got this one was the other one. Using functions to forward MMS media with email using SendGrid. So there's a lot of different ways to do this. I think for the real demo, when I give it, I might pre-write some of this stuff so that like we have the block of code that we can show, and then we can just show in a thing. But we won't have the code to send the email. So the email won't work, but I'll show what that would look like. So there's two different ways. There's a few different ways to trigger these studio flows, but basically like these three here are incoming. And let me know, I feel like I should make this bigger. Let me try to make this bigger.
Good call. Yes.
So like these three here, are all inbound. So inbound message, inbound call, inbound conversation. And then this one's a little more outbound, REST API. And that's the one we're going to use because we want to trigger a message to be sent. So the way I would do this is, the first thing that you would do is, let's say, send an email. And there's no like thing built into Twilio, into Studio to send an email. There should be. We should talk about that. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and you can either make an HTTP request or run a function. So they're pretty similar. And we'll say, we'll call this like send email.
Cool. I put a question in chat. Just curious. I know Studio gets some love sometimes, but definitely let us know like what you've built in Studio. Like, what do you like to build or what do you like to leverage? In Studio. But yeah, email is definitely complicated.
Email. Well, it's not with SendGrid. It's pretty easy. But like for now, just to show that it's working, we're gonna just use this is one of my favorite like quick hack tools, webhook.site. So with this, basically I can see if you send anything to this endpoint, I'll see it in here. So we're just gonna like pretend that we're sending an email, and we're gonna just send it to this webhook to show that we had something. And let's say we're gonna need. So there's like a request body. You can authenticate. You can put HTTP parameters. So we'll just say like email, because we would need to send someone an email, and then we'll say that that's like and it's not my email, but try. I don't know who that goes to. Say like there's an email there, and then like maybe it's app time, and we'll let's say Tuesday 2 p.m.
2 p.m. Eastern
our time. So like that's gonna happen. Now the problem is like we don't know. This is kind of like this example is kind of gonna fall on its face a little bit, because like this would then have to sit there and like wait to see if they responded or not, which it's not going to do in this regard. So like whatever, we sent the email, that's cool. And then like maybe we have a decision based on what I would probably do. A better way of explaining this, so I might actually get rid of this part, is like even in Airtable you can connect it to SendGrid really quick. So you could like send an email and see if they reply, and then like after a certain amount of time, if they haven't replied, have an automation that then triggers this thing. So you could do it this way, but we're going to say, so let's assume that we've already sent them an email and they're not responding. I'm all over the place today. So instead, we're going to start by sending them a message and wait for a reply. So let's say, dictate the message to me. What are we going to say?
Hi, your appointment is scheduled.
Hold on. We can do some cool stuff here. So hi, let's just say, I'm just going to put a name right here, and then we'll fill that in later.
Hi, name. And this is after we've sent them the message, or this is the initial message?
Assume this is the first text message they're going to get.
Okay, your appointment is scheduled for Tuesday, 2 p.m. Hi, Jerk. Sorry. Your,
Yeah, we can make the first
your,
name Jerk. That's exactly what I want.
your appointment is scheduled for, yes, appointment time.
Yeah.
Fantastic. If you need to reschedule, I mean, sometimes we'll do the like, if you need to reschedule, or
Do
do
that.
we
Yeah.
want, yeah.
Totally.
If you need to reschedule,
reply 1
to confirm.
To confirm. Reply 2 to reschedule. Reply 3 to cancel. Right.
Boom.
Easy. So we're gonna do that. Now this name stuff, we're gonna use a little liquid templating here. Let's say trigger. I think it's trigger, isn't it? Why is it only giving me widget? I think there's a way to let's see. Let's just go to documentation for this.
We'll see that. Probably toss like a pirate. I am not sure. I was so tempted to ghostwrite as you, Brent, continuously and just write more. Maybe I'll just write more pirate things. I'm enjoying the power of being Chef Brent on the webs. So yeah.
I know there's hold on, let me go back here. Let me try that. Show the trigger start widget here. And then there's some data associated with this too, which I think I can get to.
You have some information.
There we go. Trigger dot message body. So if we're triggering from a message, this is for inbound messaging trigger. So let's go scroll down to API trigger.
Y'all, why am I'm a little delayed today. I'm looking at this. I was like,
REST API variable triggers. Okay, so flow.data.myCustomVariable. So variables passed in the REST API trigger will be available as flow data and accessible. So we're gonna, cool. So we'll go here just to look. Whoa.
Cool.
Let's see. Helper libraries, we're not gonna need those. Flow variables. I don't know. We'll try it when we get there. But and if it doesn't work, we'll figure it out then. So it's gonna be this. That's too many. Just 2. Flow data dot name, and then this one should be flow data dot appointment time. Flow dot data dot apt. We'll just call it that, and we'll send it to apt because I get to choose and make variable names, so I can make them easy. Cool. So this is going to be send initial SMS. Cool. So when we trigger the REST API, send the initial SMS. Okay.
Can you just? I might slow you down a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So you just did a bunch of all the things. So essentially, what have you just done?
So basically, and maybe we'll go and trigger this in a minute. So when this gets triggered, it's going to pull in the name from the trigger and the appointment from the trigger, and fill those in because this is something we call liquid templating language.
Yep.
And it goes there. And so now if I trigger this with some sort of call, which I can actually do right here, I have this set up already. So where are we? Studio. Think it's executions. Create execution. Cool. So I think that's the way I do it. Let me just check. So
we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Here in the REST API, it's this. So this is I can actually just create it. So this is Postman. This is one of my favorite tools. We'll just create a blank one. So if I post to this here, I'm gonna need I forgot I need to authenticate. Hold on, let me actually do it. So V2 flows in the execution number. I'm gonna use this one because it should be the same. Yeah, flow SID. Okay. And we'll just hard code that in there. So this should do it. And then this also lets me authenticate. So like, I already should have these saved.
Boom. We had,
So
we've come a long way. I was like,
yeah,
authentication drama, early
I
days
know.
of our, such a
You,
long time.
yeah, this will be my account. It's for the account SID. And now I realized I don't know if that's the right one, and it shows it. So I'm actually not gonna do the next one really quick. Well,
Oh,
maybe,
okay.
but I don't even know if that's the right account SID. So see
That's
how
real.
it like, yeah. Let me
Mhm.
see if that's the right account SID before we go. So
We'll edit that out if the
no, the
interweb.
account SID's fine. That can be shown. It's the auth token that's an issue. So let's see if I got it right.
A passwordless. Oh, I was like, Roberto, were you on our last stream with
Yeah, we talked to
Kelly?
Kelly about all that stuff.
Oh my gosh. Like if you did not see that last stream, highly recommend. It was so okay. Yes, it was a party. But yeah, I think on that one we talked about all things like authentication. Yes, it's definitely a must watch. So yeah, definitely if you haven't seen it, let me see if I can find the link, but highly recommend. But the
Yeah.
passwordless feature had me thinking about that one. Of just like kind of the vision we want to see
Yeah.
on passwords and such. But yeah, highly recommend. Let's see. Is there a link? Let me see. Twilio devs. I'm just gonna have oh gosh.
Just keep
Oh
saying it.
wow.
Yeah. That was, yeah. Talking to Kelly about that just made me like, it could be so much better. It could be so much easier. Like I'm doing all this stuff right now, and like I almost exposed myself again. Luckily I didn't.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Robertables. Yeah, I was gonna add that, but yeah, if you haven't seen it, check it out. But yeah, it's on YouTube. But yeah, we talked about a lot of different things, but I do think like what we want to see, what are some of the innovations in the industry? Like it was pretty solid. And it was, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, it was stream 11. Look at us. Look at us.
Cool. So I have authorization there. You can pull me back up now. Key would be phone number because we need to know the two. Oh, I got to remember how to do that part. So,
let's go back to our docs.
Yeah, more. We got to go through docs. Yeah, so you got to have a 2 number and a phone number, which you'll have to configure. But so I think that just goes into my. I hope that works. I don't actually know if this is going to work.
Well,
2,
this is our stream before the stream.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think this is a good practice of like us figuring out, what
it is.
What we want to do.
What's the phone number I have here? So we'll use this phone number. And then I'm going to also configure this. I haven't published the studio flow yet. That's okay. So when a message comes in, we're going to use a studio flow, and then it's going to be my appointment reminder flow. So I'm going to do that, save configuration there, and then
we got a number.
This is my phone number. Yeah. So I've already got that set up. So
that's what I really enjoy about Studio is like how simple like it is. Like it just cuts out a lot of the like steps. So yeah, it definitely
still a little bit of setup, but that's normal.
Yeah. Totally. But I think even the ability to quickly test is, it's a little expedited.
Yeah. Well, and I will say it's harder when you're using the API idea. Like this wants me to, it won't publish because I don't have a, what happens from here? Okay. Well, let me just publish. I'm just going to make one up, which is we'll do another send message. And then even if this doesn't work, we'll just run the flow because we'll just build the flow because cool. Why won't it let me publish this? I
was like, we needed any you currently publish flow.
Input may not be null for split 1. Body message. Variable test. Inbound. Or it's going to be widget dot. Wait, okay. So it's having me send initial SMS, and then we want the inbound body. So that's what the person sends back to us.
Mm-hmm.
That's there. And then this message will just be like, great. So we'll say that. Okay.
Thanks. No, yeah. Revertibles, that is such a good like point around like the simplicity. I actually do think I do wonder though, when you make things so simple, if people don't realize how complicated it is, right? Because I do think there is this aspect of like, I don't even think people know how complicated telephony. Telephony is also like a really cool word, but I don't even think people realize how complicated telephony is. So it's like you create things on Twilio and you don't realize how much Twilio is like cutting out for you.
Yeah. It didn't work, which is fine. So maybe we won't be testing it in this way, but we can figure it out. We're going to test it a different way, which is we're just going to say, or if somebody texts this number. So I'll be able to text this number and see if it's working as well.
Okay, cool.
Although it won't have the name in the appointment, which is fine.
We'll see if it works.
Maybe that's what maybe, that might have even been the issue. Let's see if it actually had nope. Okay. I did something there, but good to know that I'm going to set up my webhook before the next thing. So, okay. So someone's going to do this and they're going to reply and they're either going to give us a 1, a 2, or, or, whoa, I don't know what just happened. So let's just say equal to 1. And then we're going to want to go to, we'll make this one confirm. And then we'll say, thank you for confirming. We can't, what doctor is this for?
Sorry. I just thought you were going to say, we can't wait to see what you built. And I was like, no.
I was going to do something like that, but like, what is it going to, like, what doctor are we doing? Like, give me an example.
We're going to see our dentist.
We can't wait to see your pearly whites.
Okay.
Sweet. We could even send a picture of teeth. Yay. Cool. So like
that. Yes. Okay, cool. So we're getting our messages. So
yeah, if they reply 1, they confirm. And then you're probably going to want to then do something like send make an HTTP request to know that they did that. So like here, let's say no matter what, we go here and then we'll have our webhook.site thing again, because that's easy. Let's say we're going to do a get to the actually it's going to be a post because we want to send data, and then let's say status, and then confirmed.
Boom.
And then yeah.
Oh, no. I was just, what is it? We were talking about just kind of like that rabbit hole of knowing how the sausage is made. So how things work, like how deep down that rabbit hole do we sometimes like to go?
Yeah. See if the value is 2. We're going to go to this one, copy of confirm, which is 2 is reschedule, right? This is where like, I think you can get a little bit interesting. So like if I was doing this, if this would be super cool if we could like have an integration with Calendly and know appointment times and be like, oh, here's a reschedule. But like, what if we just say this? Thanks for letting us know.
Someone from our team. Sometimes there'll be like someone from our team. So this has actually happened to me. So I had to cancel.
Someone from our team will call you soon to find a new time. You can also call us at 555 too many. Like you can do that.
Yep.
Or you could even have this trigger a phone call. You could even have this sit there and say, great, press 1 to be connected now to somebody who can help you reschedule.
Ooh.
Like you could even do that. That would be a cool use of omni-channel, which we can do.
Mhm.
But it's more yeah. Go ahead.
I do like this note of who knew I'd be this excited about omni-channel? I was like, the excitement. What is it? So it's interesting because it's like reschedule being another opportunity for you to maintain business versus cancellation. Rescheduling, the person is still interested, whereas cancellation, you don't know, right? Like there's the possibilities are there. Yes. Me and omni-channel is this how I often wonder how the handshake looks.
The omni-channel handshake, or how us going at the hands of the screen.
This is my virtual handshake. Yes. Reschedule is still like a warm lead. So I think even with that though, is just like knowing, even leveraging that language to understand like how do you make that quick enough so you don't want to lose that business, right?
Yeah.
You want to keep it warm.
Yeah, this would be a great place to do to do like another thing of like, press 1 to call to be connected to somebody right now. I think that the only hard part with that is like, if somebody can't pick up right in that moment, it might be hard to like, that would be like a weird experience. So you'd have to think through that a little bit. So we got our cancel one now. That's too bad. You can even in this one, you know what you could even do here? Let's actually change this. Let's not do it this way. Let's ask them for something. Let's send message and wait for reply. So like if they cancel, let's say like, we are sorry to hear this. You can always ask, like, why not? Do you want us to call and find another time? If not, is there some reason you're canceling?
Yeah. And a lot of times, sometimes for me, the reschedule one, I feel like sometimes I cancel when I don't know a date that I can reschedule. So that's been so like, I think even if you're just like, I do still like my teeth. But I do think even if you're finding a way to maintain the relationship and just be like, hey, here's another option or here's another solution. So I do like that of just like, sorry to hear this.
Do you even care about your teeth anymore? This was a Chef Brent one. It's going off of him.
I'm cracking up because I'm imagining getting a text message from my dentist like, do you even care? Do you even care about your teeth? Like, I was like, oh, let me reschedule ASAP.
Going to the dentist, but like, talk about like of doctors that kind of like, have you been flossing?
I'm like, if I got a text message just like I cancel, it's like, wow, maybe I didn't need to cancel. Like, wow, this is not the direction I thought we were going. Okay, so we have confirm, we have reschedule, and we have cancel.
Yeah. Okay. We got to do one more thing though. So we're creating this HTTP request that's like status is canceled.
Yeah.
But we also need to like, if they give us a reason, we want to know why. So like, and so we'll call this like HTTP cancel with response. Yes. So right now we have one. So if they don't reply, it's just going to tell us they're canceled. If they do reply, then we also want to send the we want to send what they said. So like response can be widgets dot cancel dot inbound or inbound body. I can't type today.
I think the comment around like, 7 months since your last cleaning. I sometimes whenever the like folks will be like, and you must come in tomorrow. And I'm like, relax. I'll get there. I'll get
Yeah.
there. But they can make it a little bit like intense.
Yeah. So I've got this. This is like a good start.
Okay. Cool.
I'm actually gonna do one thing. But like let's make this omni-channel, right? If they don't reply to the call, you can set it here. So there's this transition thing. And it's okay, these are not, sorry, in configuration, you can sit there and say no reply timeout. And this is in seconds. So what's that? This would be like,
hold on. Let's see.
I forget the defaults. What's, I'm doing some math here in my little phone calculator.
60 minutes, an hour.
So that's 1 hour. But let's change this to like a minute, right? So that's just 60. Now, obviously, you'd want it to be more than a minute before you send
mathletes. I'm just thinking of Alex.
I am, high school mathlete.
I love it. Okay,
I gotta get one of my buddies said he'd join on he'd come and get into chat, so I gotta get him on here. I'm still good friends with the guy I did math team with, or one of the guys.
Oh, I will say, apparently, according to the chat, you're living your bolds. So 71 changes to flow. And you have
I'm just gonna build it.
Wow. Wild side.
Happens. So there's a few different things here, but the voice you can put into the channel too. So like I've used this a lot of other times where if somebody calls in, I send them a text message, like if they need a link. I love that for omni-channel. But here, if somebody doesn't respond to our text, let's call them. So let's go ahead and call the user. So call user, and then so it's going to make the outbound call based on who the person is. We can record the call if we want, or detect answering machine. That's fine. Let's turn that on. Detect machine start. I don't even know how this all works. Great. So we have like answer, busy, call failed, all this fun stuff. So let's assume they answered. Then we're gonna do two things. We're gonna say play, which is like we're gonna say something to them, like to their phone, and then we're going to, after that, we're gonna gather input on call. So this is like press 1, press 2, right? So it's actually gonna be almost the same as this one here. So let's just copy this.
Just via voice.
Yeah.
Answering machines. I want to say that in like my favorite old lady voice. When I'm back in my day, I remember. That was like such a horrible old lady voice. But I feel like I saw answering machines. I used to love answering machines because it's like
a little,
because the thing about answering machines is like everyone could hear, oh my gosh. So my favorite was the answering machine Inception. So whenever it was like the school was calling, that was when I would be like, oop, grabbed it. We don't need any record of this. So the answering machine, I would literally like say I got home before, sorry, mom and dad. So like say I would have gotten home before they would have gotten home. So then the school called to like, oh, Bianca did X, Y, or Z. But then I could hear them leaving a message. And I was like, darn, sorry. No one's available to record this.
Oh, you pretended you were the message machine?
Oh, I literally would just like, or at times I'd delete it. So yeah, lost. Okay. So
Tofrog prefers Poly Joanna. I also did this wrong. I just want to call it out. In the gather input on call, you can say something. So I actually don't need this one. This say play.
Okay.
So this will say, hi, blah, blah, blah. Your appointment is scheduled for blah, blah, blah. Press 1 to confirm, 2 to, So save that. And then, so if they answer, we'll go there. And then here, and then, so assuming a user press key, we're actually going to we can actually basically copy this one, and I'll show you, because like it's going to be the same things. So like if user, but we have to look at a different variable. We need to look at widgets.gather. Why isn't it working? Gather one digits.
Digits.
It can also do speech recognition, but we'll just say press. And then these can actually go to the same like HTTP requests, but we're probably going to want to say something, right? So 1, 2, 3. But we could basically do like a say play. I'm just going to do, there's a lot of little edge cases here. This ends up being a lot.
I think with Studio, you have to actually really be like thoughtful about like what is the actual journey versus I think, so I do think sometimes like running through the flow as is versus knowing how would I want someone to journey through it. It's kind of different.
Yeah. What's cool is we can actually then go and just have it go to this same one. Like we don't need to create a new HTTP call. So I'm just going to leave it there. You would connect this to like a say play that says, you could even then connect them directly. If you're on the phone with them already, you could connect them to you. But yeah, you could like, you'll connect to something that says like, clearly I'm getting lazy here. Okay. You could like, we will connect you to reschedule. Please hold.
Twitch is our additional channel.
Potential issue of messaging service / phone number issues when making the call out. That is true. This can't be a messaging service because messaging services, if you're using the REST API, they don't play well with if you have the number set up to a messaging service. So like that is true. That is an issue. Thanks for calling that out. But like this, you can do this. This I actually love because you can, for rescheduling, like if we have the rescheduling phone, and then it can just go straight to connect call to. So this is like connecting call to an outbound number. And so like here, we're going to sit there and say, okay, we're going to go connect. We're going to go call the office, and we're not going to do this, but like we're going to call, that's pretty cool. So like right in Studio, we can sit there and connect to the office to make the call. So I got to do one thing before we get further, which is this name and data thing. It's not going to work the way I want it to. So we're going to change this to flow. Let's leave it there. I'm going to create variables for it because then it'll kind of simulate what it would be like. And then we'll just have a set variable thing. So name is going to be Alex. And then anything exciting going on in chat? I feel like there's a lot of stuff happening.
Oh yeah, no, so essentially, Chef Brent is not the best keeper of secrets. So
what secret did he let out?
I mean, Toe Frog was working on some stuff. So yeah, talking about creating a Twitch Twilio app. But yeah, I'm just saying. So Chef Brent kind of put it out in the streets, but I didn't help because I just put it on the screen. Okay. And I just decided I was like, no, it would live there forever. So we just wanted to troll Toe Frog. That's really the goal.
That's fine. He's a good person for us to troll.
Yes.
He's very supportive team member.
Big facts. Yeah. Yes. None at all. Okay, so you're saying you had to update. You're updating the.
I'm making it so it's a variable.
Okay.
I think that's how it works. We'll find out.
Now that I can't unsee, like I think it was Robertables who brought it up. Like how many? What's your number before you actually save it? So now I feel like I'm just like
I build it all out and then go from there. That's just like my vibe here. And
that's
then
I'll
I also need to get it all set up so I can share my phone on my screen, but I don't have that right now. So you guys will just have to trust me as I send text messages to 888-474-0847.
Boom.
So let's just see what happens when I send a message to this.
Do you get a call?
I don't have any response yet, which, that's probably why. Okay, so I got a thing that said, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to read it, but it says, "Hi, Alex. Your appointment is scheduled for 2 p.m. on Tuesday. Press 1 to confirm." I'm just going to let it sit for a minute because I want to see if they're going to make the call to me. And, hold on. I won't actually get the call because I'm on Do Not Disturb right now. But let's see if in a minute it makes the call. I didn't even finish saving this and publishing it, so who knows if it'll work. But
we'll see. We'll get there someday.
And I can make this faster too.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Chaos. Chaos, or is it a journey? Some call it chaos, some call it other things.
Let's see what happened. Let's see what it did, because it's been probably about a minute and it hasn't. Oh, no, I'm getting a phone call now.
Oh,
okay.
A chaotic journey. No phone share, D&D mode. We're just going to get Alex a t-shirt.
Hi,
that says,
your appointment is scheduled for. Press 1 to confirm, press 2 to reschedule, press 3 to cancel.
So like,
boom!
I didn't do it quite right, but like kind of worked. Which is cool. So there's still some things to update, but like after a minute it called me, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
And we can, try it again and it would go through these different things. Let's just try confirming and see if that works.
Okay.
So the flow ended in theory. Yeah. So now 1, and then let's see. Thank you for confirming. We can't wait. And now webhook.site has it saying that, has a post saying that status is confirmed. Now, let's see if my other thing worked.
Okay.
So remember, we have that whole cancellation flow.
Yes,
so
we do.
Let me try again. And I got to get my phone up there so you guys can see it. Let's say 3 and let's just say, okay. So it says, and I'm just going to say all my teeth fell out. Fell out. Okay.
Oh my gosh. The drama.
So now in theory, it didn't like that, but yeah. Oh yeah, there we go. So there we go. Response,
Boom.
All my teeth fell out. Status canceled.
That is true. I mean, like, then with that one, you would have to have a deeper follow-up. Like maybe from that point, you're like, okay, maybe you need a consultation. I think it's going to be interesting even over time with, what is it? Things like AI, like being able to take the context of like, what happens if your customers, like their teeth fell out? Like what is where do we even start? Yeah, I think that was the AI voice. AI. No,
I'm AI.
So I think that's the corporate voice of like AI. So then, but then the AI is like, "Hi, I'm AI." So then that's like the different,
I want to know what Robertables thinks, that it actually worked more or less with 180 or 80 something changes.
Yeah, that is. Oh yes, Allen Iverson.
Yeah, we got Allen Iverson to make the calls.
Alex, okay, so technically, because you had said you haven't gotten a demo or something to work on.
I got a demo that worked.
Does this count? I think it counts. I think
it does.
I do think so too. Like, this is a great moment. Do you have a speech for the people?
I'd like to thank the Twilio Academy, everyone who made this possible for me to be on here and streaming today in front of you to build a demo that worked. I'd like to thank all the people who worked on Twilio Studio for me in 38 minutes to create a working demo. I'd like to thank Bianca for cheering me on and engaging with chat. I'd like to thank chat for giving me some fun ideas, like, do you not care about your teeth? And things like that. And, most of all, I'd like to thank my family. Thank you, Mom. There you go.
Bravo. And as you just saw, today we presented our award for completed demo. And yes, we're very excited. Our
Will
next
Smith is watching the stage. Be careful.
our next category is best pirate voice on stream. Our
I don't
nominees
know if I'm gonna
are.
be able to take that one.
Can't-
Yar.
It's not. It can't be a sweep. You know, you balance.
No. All right, let's hear your pirate voice on stream.
Let's see. Our. It's like.
Omni-channel, reach your customers where they are.
That was pretty good, Alex. Alex, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Do we have like a pirate voice on our studio?
I don't think so. Like is there like, because it's all the Amazon Poly voices. That'd be so funny if there was a if there was like, I don't think there's a pirate one.
Okay, we'll get there.
I can't wait. I hope one day we at Twilio are able to hook this up to like 11 labs, and then you could get fun with the voices.
I kind of like it. Like it.
That would be fun.
But then we'll make sure we're compliant. No taking of voices of
celebrities. I don't know if people heard that there's like some controversy around the OpenAI announcement because the voice sounds a lot like Scarlett Johansson's AI character in Her, and so her ScarJo and her people are suing OpenAI. And what doesn't look good is that they had reached out to her months before to be like, hey, do you want to participate and like be the voice here? We think it'd be really great. And she said no, and then they did it 2 days before the event again. And she never had time to respond, and they just went with it. So I think it's gonna, it's gonna be an interesting one.
Drama.
Yeah.
It does. Okay, so what would you probably edit like in here?
Wait, I just want to bring something up. Stephen Nick said he can't wait for I'm clicking the wrong thing. Can't wait for the SNL to take on that, which is going to be great because Scarlett's married to Colin Jost on SNL. So I'm sure there's going to be something there.
There's going to be some content.
Although I think they might have just done their season finale. So I don't know when the next episode's going to be. Yeah. Roberta Bowles, good point. They ship to Prod on a Friday. That's the problem. Yeah.
I
shouldn't have done that. What were you going to say, Bianca? You were going to ask me something like, what was I going to add to this demo?
Oh yeah. So this is like V1. So you kind of built out the flow. Where do you kind of, me and the polish, me and the,
yeah.
Okay.
I think I need to get all the stuff set up around it. So I need to get it set. So with one quick click of the button, I can trigger this. And it'll show up on a probably dev phone or my phone with a screen share. So I think those are the big things that are going to make it look better.
Okay.
My other worry is like, there's just a lot of cases and edge cases here. This is kind of a slow build. So I'm trying to think if there's like, if I do less or if I have some of these widgets already there and I kind of just connect the dots. I don't know, chat. What do you think? Like my goal is to it took me 40 minutes to do this. There's a lot of hidden failure modes in there. It took me like 30 or 40 minutes to do this. I really want to get it down to like 15, maybe 20. In theory, I could have like the HTTP requests in there, some of that stuff. That would probably make it quicker. I think I got to figure out how to make it a little bit tighter.
Yeah, I do wonder, chat, definitely let us know, like, what do you feel like were like the important pieces, right? To maybe pull out of this demo too. Because I do think because it's like when you're explaining to folks, like, yes, we can run them through the journey, but I do think being able to, just pull out like what are the major things too.
That being said, if I had everything set up where I knew how to send the webhook or how to send the SMS to trigger or the API call to trigger it right away.
Yep.
If like I had some of the stuff set up initially and I knew like, oh, it's flow.data.name and I didn't need to go look at docs, I bet it would be 20 minutes. So I think that'd be okay.
All right.
What Roberta said, pre-populating and having ready the credentials and variables. Yeah, exactly. So like that would shave off 5 minutes. I can even copy the text that I have in here and have all of these be like in a document off to the side and copy and paste, and then I'm typing less.
Okay.
So
okay. We got it.
Yeah.
This is also I think this is our first like build for a webinar stream.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. That was pretty
talk about like, yeah, oh, thanks, Roberta Walls. I appreciate you, that feedback. Yeah, this is one of the things that Chef Brent told us to try to do is he's like, sometimes get on stream and do work that you have to do anyways. Cause it's fun. And it was fun to see everyone in chat give feedback. It was fun to have some Twillions in here, like Steve and Nick, and give some feedback about like, oh, don't forget to mention this thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun to have that feedback and do it here, and also do it live. Because a lot of times if I'm building like by myself, I probably wouldn't have thought like, oh, I just exposed my auth token. I got to make sure I don't do that.
Not at all. Yeah. I like that. And also I think, other ways to make it engaging too. So I think that to me is just like, it's helpful. And also having it in a audience of fellow Twillions. So we typically do this.
Some Twillions,
but just
some
like,
not Twillions.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Just in front of the crew.
Yeah.
The crew that includes all folks. But I do think being able to have an audience of engaged folks that are just like, oh, I didn't consider this. And also folks that think we're semi-cool. So they're like, they're like, yeah, you can do it. And then also I feel like I love the piece about honesty too, right? Like building live is more honest. So definitely. I do think kind of this is a natural cadence of what you would see. So I do like this aspect too, that it felt very open, vulnerable with all of us. So thank y'all so much in chat for just like giving us tips, because we'll probably use it for our live event. So thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all.
And then I'm going to drop something in chat, which I think might show up from Chef Brent, but that's fine. If you want to see us actually do this, it's here. This is the Builder Workshop that Bianca and I are doing together on June. What is the date? It's I
think it's June 5th.
June 5th, yeah.
And it's the day before a special day. A special day.
Bianca got me a Builder Workshop for my birthday.
I know. I'm
so
great
thoughtful.
Great giving. Why did I just think about like our next build is a gift picker. Do you want a stream? Do you want a Builder Workshop, or do you want a t-shirt you already have? What are your choices? 1, 2, or 3?
Yeah. I mean, stream would be fun, a birthday stream, but I think my birthday's on a Thursday. So maybe we'll just do the June 6th. We'll throw or June 4th stream. We'll throw a little party.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. All right. We could do, maybe we can I have some ideas. I'll talk to our producer. But yes, it is.
We got to make it remote friendly.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. The Builder Workshop is a remote event. It's a webinar, if that's what you're asking, Roberta Bulls.
Yes. We'll have an ad hoc stream of just an hour of telling Alex how awesome he is. So that is going to be, that is
too much.
The birthday things are always so awkward because it reminds me of when people are singing happy birthday to you. Like I feel for the little babies because then they're like, what do I?
At my daughter's first birthday, it freaked her out. We like did the happy birthday and she just like freaked out, and then we put the cake in front of her and she just started bawling. Like she was not happy about it.
I'm just like, what are you supposed to do? Everyone's like, happy birthday. And like, they're just staring at you and singing at you. That is like, it's a lot.
My favorite thing to do for my birthday, which I will be doing if anyone's in Denver and wants to join, the Saturday after my birthday. I like to like cook for people. I a few years ago, this is before baby, did like a full on like multi-course Mediterranean dinner, and it was like so much fun or lunch, I guess, like backyard cookout. It was so much fun to do, but it's just so much work that this year I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buy stuff and put some stuff on the grill. Maybe I'll do a little smoking, because smoking I can set up early. But yeah, I'm gonna try to make it a little easier on myself. But I love hosting people with food. Like that's my thing. And if people show up for that, it makes me happy. Yeah, it's what my sous chefs do. I usually like, but when you're hosting, like the other person's setting up the house, like there's so much other stuff. And now that we have a kid, the other person's just watching the baby. So it's just like one of us to host. And we'll still do it. Yeah.
My favorite thing is like I always feel like you have the designated friend that's like, hey, come much early to just be the secondary host. So I usually have a friend that knows around the house that I'll be like, yeah, you field all the questions.
Yeah,
you know?
so my wife doesn't love sous chefing for me. Understandable.
That's
My
right.
friend Owen and we will like, sometimes when we're getting together, we'll just like get together and like cook some elaborate meal. And so I usually have him come over and sous chef with me. So for like that big Mediterranean one, he and I made most of the stuff beforehand, like slow cooks and things like that. And then at the moment we made a bunch of flatbreads, like lafas. And so he was like sous chefing with me on that in the moment.
I like that. No, yeah, it's cool. I also feel like we need to go back to the days of like, all right, what's everyone doing? You know, it's like, are you bringing, I feel like there was a deep spreadsheet era for a while.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, are you bringing in the drinks? Are you bringing in the cups? Are you cooking? So I do think like we could,
Sometimes I forget that you can do a potluck, that you can ask people to bring stuff, because I'm just like, I'm just going to do it all. Let me not inconvenience you. But like people feel more involved when they bring stuff.
Because then what then happens is then like you get everyone bringing the same things and you have like 15 boxes of Costco utensils. It's just, I feel like my brain went to a land of like, how many fork, knives, and spoons do we really need here?
I feel like there was a weird reflection in my glasses of like the screen that I'm looking at, and so I just wanted to like pick it up.
Okay.
It got a little darker. I turned my light on. It got a little darker. It's kind of a stormy day here in Denver. Actually hailed last night, which was it happens once or twice a year.
That's real. Balance.
Yeah.
Okay, how are you feeling after this stream? Yeah, like how are we feeling? Do you feel ready?
Good. I will say I'm happy. Thank you, Bianca, for the support, and thank you, chat, for being supportive, because it's kind of like when I'm doing these demos, I'm zoomed in on like, what am I doing on the computer? And it's hard to like stop and look at chat. And I did it a little bit, and I'm sure it would get better, but like, it's so much easier to just have a conversation and look at chat and be talking than to like code and demo. So I'm glad that you were here kind of pulling in the chat and being the kind of connector there. So thank you for doing that, Bianca. But yeah, I think we're like finally getting the hang of this a little better, and it's easier, and I'm happy, I feel like I'm going to keep doing this to like do some coding on stream. I got some other ideas for another stream. I built a whole trivia app, and I want to do some refactoring of it. And so I might do a stream where we refactor that, which will be a fun one. So I think there's some other build streams that we can do coming up.
I call it my like to build list. So like I had a thing I had started on actually with Craig. So I might pull in Craig.
You said his name. Is he here? Is Craig here?
No. I know. Last time it was so wild. I was like, he magically appeared. I was like, oh my gosh. But there's one, it's called Park Break. Basically it was leveraging the national parks API, but the issue was that it would give us coordinates. So like, I'm like, hey, give me a local park, by here.
I see.
But instead, so the API was very limited, but I do feel like with other tools, I could probably like, we could
probably chain some tools together to make that work.
So I think that's what it was. So I
Yeah.
think playing around with that. And then I had another thing that I had for this Hackers for Birth Justice, which is
Mhm.
we can also share that too.
Yeah.
But Hackers for Birth Justice, we have this hackathon around like maternal health. But there was an app that I had kind of started building, leveraging Airtable, and actually some blog posts from what is it? Some blog posts from Tilda and yourself, Alex. So I definitely want to kind of tweak that up a bit. So lots of stuff happening.
Yeah. But we're always happy to be here. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Twilio Twitch Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. And then, on the 5th of June, you can also catch us in a little more polished setting of the webinars. But honestly, those are kind of just practice. Like, this is practice for that. Those are practice for this. They all work together. Just
It
getting
does.
better at being here and schmoozing.
So
Yeah.
it all works out. So yeah, and then also if there are as always, like if there are topics that you would want to see, if some of y'all want to come on stream, let us know. Tell your friends about stream. I feel like it's
Mhm.
always a great place for us to just like hang. So I think that's another thing too. Is just like come and hang with us. Tell your friends to hang with us or hang with you while you're hanging with us. So it's
Yeah.
just like
Let's all hang
a
out.
hanging. It's like a hanging out inception. But
Yeah.
yeah, as always, a pleasure. Definitely catch us again Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, for A/B testing. Good to see y'all. See y'all next week.
Bye.